Hey, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. We've got some updates about the RLCS World Championship, which is just a short week away. 16 teams, which was 15, going into Fort Worth, Texas to run it back for a chance to win what is like $2 million or something. I forget what the prize pools are nowadays. Either way, RL Esports has been putting out some updates, and while I was away, they finally gave us an update about what was going on with the MENA situation for the second seed. Quick recap for those that don't know. Due to roster changes and stuff like that, the second seed for MENA, who was supposed to be Team Anything, which is Nalpo and friends, ended up not being able to go and compete due to visa issues and other stuff. So they went down the list. They went through the top 8 teams in MENA. None of those could be provided. So we didn't know who was going to be the 16th and final team into the RLCS. But on August 27th, RL Esports has put out an update saying, hey, we have confirmed that the second seed out of the MENA region, Team Anything, has forfeited their spot. So, because of this, we went through all the seeds we could, number 3 through 18 in MENA. We couldn't field a roster in time for the event due to visa issues, personal reasons, travel restriction, whatever the reasons. But we went down the list. We tried to find another MENA representation, and we couldn't. Now, because of that, we need to make sure we have 16 teams, because if we don't, Swiss gets ugly, teams get buys, there's advantages. Like, we have to have a 16 team. So many of us thought it was going to be between 3 teams. RMC, the former LG squad, Oxygen from Europe, and Complexity from South America. They said, as the EU region collected the most RLCS points at majors this season, which is very similar to how it was in the past with like wild cards and stuff, they have invited the next best team outside of the top 4, which is Oxygen. So Oxygen, who's gone through some chaos with the Shift Summer League getting shut down and that falling apart, the Kraft family basically pulling the plug. Now you have a team that is like, make it happen. The nice thing for Joyo, Oski, and Archie, 2 things. Number 1, their organization is based in Boston. So when it comes to visa issues and stuff like that, it should be relatively easy for them to bring in the team. The second thing is all 3 of those players have traveled regularly, shouldn't be any issues, and they've been slowly ascending towards the tail end of the season, which should provide a good level of competition. Now, from what it looks like, after they were eliminated, because it came down to the second major and how well they performed, we've seen a lot of teams be like, hey, our season's over, and they disbanded and they fell apart. And from what it looks like, it doesn't seem to be the case for Oxygen. It looks like they have still solidified as a trio, and are going to continue to beat. So we do have our 16th and final team for RL Esports. What that does for the seeding, a lot of people were curious, and we got an update on that. And literally today, they talk about the day 1 schedule for Worlds, which we can assume and find out what the seeding is for this as well. We're going to actually turn away from this. We'll go back to that pretty picture in a sec here, because we do have the information here. And based upon the way that things have played out, you do have BDS right now as the 5th seed, which means that the opposite is then true for Oxygen. So 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, they're the 12th seed coming in. So the way that things are weighted, we can actually assume who's going what. Obviously, G2 being number 1, rightfully so, due to the fact that they are 2nd place and 1st place in majors. They won the most recent, so they get the lowest team. And you can kind of assume 2nd seed with Falcons, constant top 2s. And it goes down the list. So the way that they've done seeding for Worlds is based upon historic evidence and everything else, but you can assume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They are giving NA the top side, but then they give EU the next 2 because of that consistency in results, which is the same reason why they're pulling in Oxygen as compared to an RMC, Reddles Magic Cheese, or a Complexity. I know Gibbs put out a video saying that, hey, Complexity kind of got snubbed. But I personally do agree with the reasoning here based upon the performance and the results overall. If we do look at the first day schedule, some other things that have been announced, which are absolutely fantastic. Every single team will get to play in front of the crowd. We will see all 16 teams play in front of an audience at one point or another. Many people are curious on how this is going to happen, and it's the way that they've done it in the past, where when you go into the Swiss round, when you get into the elimination stages, so when you're 0-2, 1-2, or 2-2, those, 6, 7, 8, those 8 matches will be played on one day in front of that crowd. So I'm pretty sure the in-person days is 3 instead of 2, if I remember correctly. So the Friday, I think it'll be. That Friday will be a lower round 3, lower round 4, and then round 5 of Swiss. They will run these matches. The reason why they do not showcase these matches in front of a crowd is because those teams are either going to be 3-0, 3-1, and they will be playing in front of the crowd anyway. Now, I will say a little bit of an advantage for some of these teams. While they are in a detrimental position, they are playing from behind. They do get the benefit of playing in front of the crowd and playing and getting that experience early as compared to teams that end up going into the tiebreaker, the high-level matches. The other part of it as well that they did announce is that there is going to be tiebreakers out of Swiss, and there's going to be 2 additional games that are played. The way that they are doing this is they're taking the 3rd and 4th seed and having them play each other to see who gets the high seed and going into that quarterfinal match, which is for the upper bracket quarterfinals, which is a big deal. You're either playing the best team or the second best team, and I much rather play the second best team as compared to the best team personally. The highest seed, 3rd place based upon Swiss results, basically has 2 chances to guarantee themselves a quarterfinal match, and then same thing for that 4th place team. If they lose, then they're 4th place. They're fine, whatever. You know, you've earned your spot in Swiss. You've done your job. If you lost, no big deal. We're going to drop you down. But it gives the opportunity to play twice. All teams will qualify through. It's just a matter of the seeding differences. It makes a big deal. So realistically, if you're the 3rd best team in Swiss, you should be able to beat the 4th best and the 5th best. The teams that are going, 3-1, 3-2. So anybody who wins out of these matches and goes here, this is the 3-1 match, I'm pretty sure. This is the 1-2 match. So it gives advantages going through. Everything is weighted accordingly. It gives additional lives for the teams that are the best performing. I'm actually a big fan, and it gives us 2 more matches to watch as well in person, which I'm a huge fan of. If you guys aren't familiar with the playoff bracket, it is the AFL or APL. I forget what the terminology is, but we've seen this happen in the OCE and the APAC region in the past, where your top 4 seeds get a first round bye per se. They get an extra life. If they lose, they then drop down, and then they play the 2 next lowest teams. So the 5th, 8th, 6th, and 7th seed, whoever wins out of that. So cool system. Big fan of it. Really, really enjoy it. Really excited to watch this one play out. But yeah, some pretty good updates, I think, overall to the bracket and everything. It seems like they are trying to constantly make adjustments and make changes so that things come together appropriately. My judgment is always going to be reserved for when we actually get in person, what we see what the venue is going to be like. What is Blast going to do to really make this memorable? Because that's part of the problem. I think for a lot of people, if you've been to one RLCS LAN, lately it kind of feels like you've been to all of them. Unless you're a huge mega fan and you want to watch these in person, the appeal for going to the live event has kind of lost itself. And maybe that's just my opinion, but from what it sounds like, there's a general consensus of people that are like, you know, I can just watch from home, from the comfort of my own couch. I can save a bunch of money. I can invite some friends over. We can order some food, and it's just as enjoyable. So I will say, as a live event person who really enjoys like watching football games in person, I do think the quality of what brings you to spend the thousands of dollars for hotel, travel, tickets, so on and so forth, is not where it used to be. You know, they got to find ways to go back to what like the winter major in LA was like, where there was like food trucks and outdoor venues and a bunch of booths, and then there was an inside venue, and like there was things to do. It was really cool. It felt more of like a convention. So I'm hoping we can get back to that. That's kind of my draw. But updates on the World Championship. We've got a bunch of predictions and tier lists and all that kind of stuff coming up soon. If you want to make sure you don't miss out on that, like, subscribe, notifications down below. If you have any questions about the World Championship or things that you would like to know, obviously we went to the one in Texas in Fort Worth. So if you have insight on that you want to know, stop by the stream, leave me comments down below, and I'll get back to you. Other than that, appreciate the follows, the subs, all that kind of stuff, and all the likes on the videos. It's always appreciated. We'll see you in the next video.